Take a sip of coffee.
Hello.
Cheers.
Welcome.
Welcome. There you go. I like that, bro.
We each have like a $50 tab every week. That's just alcohol, you know? It's crazy.
Wow.
And now, I mean, yeah, I would have maybe, and it wouldn't be at a gig, you know? I'd have like maybe a drink with Serenity. We have like some wine, hang out on a date night or something, you know?
Right.
But,
Put the mic closer. If you can go back.
no, that's cool.
Put the mic closer so I can hear you.
But no, I mean, basically, with everything I got going on and the nonprofit and trying to get on Ellen and stuff like that, like, I just kind of had like a universal moment where I was like, nothing is more important than making my dreams come true. So, you know, I had a drink on New Year's Eve at my gig. I didn't even really want one, but I kind of wanted to have like a last one. And then I took a little hit of herb when I got home. I had an early gig. I was home New Year's Eve before the end of the night, and I literally like flushed the rest of the marijuana I had as like a sign to the universe to say like, yo, like I'm 100% locked in on my goals and my dreams, and nothing is more important. And here is proof that, you know, and I haven't had an urge at all, except for randomly on Super Bowl Sunday, I wanted to smoke a blunt. I was like freaking out. I was like, told Serenity, I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, and I mean, I didn't, but
Psychological thing, you think?
I don't know. Yeah, if it's just like a hang thing, like, oh, like chill, relax, like
Right.
That's how I liked to be. Really, was just like home at the end of the night, take a hit and like chill and, you know, wipe the brain of like the day, you know.
Yeah.
But no, nothing right now, man.
Well, that's good, man.
That's good.
It takes a lot of self-control too.
Yeah.
And for me, I've never been one that like for instance, like when Serenity, when she was like, I'm gonna be vegan or like I'm gonna eat organic, it was just like she was like hard, like just like cool, like today, it's done. You know what I mean? And like she would have like moments where like mentally she wanted to eat differently or wanted to eat chicken or whatever, because like she made that hard like decision for. I've never been able to do that. I've never been able to be like in the thick of something and say, okay, I'm done, and then I'd start a new life. Like for me, it's been a progression over years, you know. And Serenity's been a massive support system, supporting me in my journey, but also like a living example. You know what I mean? It's much easier to not drink and eat healthy and eat vegan when she's, you know,
Yeah, it helps.
of that.
Yeah.
She was hoping she was gonna come with you today. So
Oh.
if she comes, put her mic.
Oh man.
So we're gonna have to invite her next time.
Yeah,
Yes.
We have to be
That'd be cool.
2-on-2, just
Yay.
and talk, and that'd be kind of cool.
2-on-2.
Well, you know, it's always nice to like talk with other couples, you know,
Yeah.
because it's, you know, there is a lot to it. You know, there is a support system to what you do. There's a support system to what I do. You know, what I'm doing looks cool and all, but behind there's a lot of support and a lot of like affirmation and a lot of like, you know, you're doing the right thing or you're doing the wrong thing. It just, you know, it helps. You know,
Yeah.
it helps to like have that guide. You know,
Dude, I mean,
and vice versa.
What's the thing they say, you know, like you're a product of the 5 people you're around the most, right?
Right.
And obviously far more than anything else, you're around Dandy, I'm around Serenity, so like to just be around that obviously is like osmosis almost, you know, like it just comes into you, and then like I'm able to be that way other places too, you know. It's been, I say it all the time, man, like I wouldn't be where I am right now without her, like no way. You know, was I a bad person before? No, I wasn't a bad person, but I definitely lived different, you know. I definitely had
Thought different.
had different priorities, you know, and I mean, I've never been happier. I feel like I'm in the best place I've ever been in my life, you know, and she's a huge part of that.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
How long you guys been together?
It'll be 5 years, March 3rd.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Yeah,
You guys met here?
No, straight up transparency. We met on a website called Model Mayhem. It's a pretty crazy story. So I was a very broke musician. I was at Phoenix College going for music. I was gigging like 2 or 3 times a week, maybe. I was living off like student grants and loans and like, barely making my bills and stuff. And I've always hated taking photos. So like the photos like for like bands and stuff like that you have to do and stuff, like I always like hated it. It made me feel so uncomfortable, And 3 times in 1 week, when in this super broke stage of my life, different people were like, bro, you should do some modeling. And I was just like, oh my God, like, thank you for the compliment, but no. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't want to be in front of the camera like that. But 3 people in 1 week said
Like,
that.
I want to be a rock star. All the rock stars now model for everything.
Yeah, and a candid shot is cool, of me
Right.
playing. That's the shots I like,
Right.
And
But you don't want to be with a rose in your...
no. There's a modeling shot that no one will ever see. But no, so
But what do they call it? Boudoirs or boudoir? What do they call them?
oh, is that like a cologne or something?
No, it's not like when you're naked.
Oh,
But
no.
it's artsy.
No, with my
What do you
legs
call them?
crossed.
What are they called? I should Google it.
Yeah, you
I don't want
should.
to. Keep going.
I don't want to see what comes up. when you
Serenity,
do.
send me those pictures. I want to see them.
Yeah, but somebody just told me like, man, you can make some extra money, And I was like, all right, you know what I mean? Like I'll see whatever. I'll create a profile.
Yeah.
So I created a profile, and this chick from New Mexico like commented on a photo, and I was just like, no way. I'm like, what's up? And we talked for like months, and she was like full-time modeling, like GQ Brazil, and like doing all this like real legit stuff,
Yeah.
And she came out, and we met almost 10 years ago. We dated twice, but neither one of us. I didn't want to move to New Mexico, and she didn't want to move to Arizona. But like she saw me in my original band before I was even playing music for a living, called Isle of Essence, at like Long Wongs in Tempe, And
Is that picture I saw, or is that the one that Dylan told me about?
Yes,
Bass player?
like way back
he
then.
saw you like in Mill Avenue or something.
Dude,
like that.
those days, yeah.
Wow.
Dylan, the bass player I play with all the time now, I met him like 10 years ago. Me and a friend were busking on Mill Avenue, just playing for tips, and this long-haired hippie kid comes walking up, is like, hey guys, I play bass, can I jam with you? And we're like, what? And like, bass is quite an interesting instrument to just be like, I don't know you, I don't know your songs, let me come jam with you. Like, you need to know the changes. Like, this is before I even knew about calling out changes.
Right.
I was like, okay. And like 10 minutes later, he's walking down Mill Avenue with his rig on a dolly.
Doesn't he still do that?
Now he doesn't have a dolly, but yeah. And he just plugged into like the electrical outlet by the tree, on Mill Avenue where all the lights plug in.
Yeah.
And just ripped it.
Oh man. He looks the same.
He looks the same.
He looks the same. Man. I thought he was a lot younger than what
He was 17 when I met him.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gems here in Phoenix, like musician gems that it's
Oh
kinda,
my God.
it's kind of cool that I've met,
For sure.
And so that's kind of nice, man. Dude, that's it. So what I found out not too long ago that you're from Long Beach.
I am.
Dude, I'm from Linwood. We weren't too far from each other.
Yeah.
Like, if you go up to the 710 and the 105 where they kind of meet, just a little bit like northwest of that, where Linwood is at, just like north of Compton.
Yep.
And that's where I'm from. And so how did you end up here in Arizona?
Long story short, me and my mom weren't doing too good, so I got kicked out when I was 15, and my dad lived here. And, at like 12, like my dad wasn't really a part of my life for a long time. At 12, or actually before 12, but 12 I got to see him. When I was around 10 or 11, he contacted my grandparents and said that like he cleaned up his life and he was sober and he'd like to be a part of my life again. And my grandparents were like, cool, well, like, let's see you be sober for a little while before we even tell our daughter, my mom.
Yeah.
And when I was 12, that school, whatever grade I was in, was like ending that year. And my mom was like, hey, your dad has reached out to your grandparents and, he's sober now. And would you like to go see him? And I was like, oh my God, yeah. So for like 12, 13, 14, I came out here for the summers and trimmed palm trees with my dad and saved up some cash and, hung out and got to hang out with my brother, who lived with my dad. And
Older?
Younger.
Younger brother.
Yeah. And then when I was 15, obviously that relationship was like reestablished and me and my mom were having some issues. And so I moved out here to Arizona between my sophomore and junior year, which was pretty rough because my junior year of high school, like I knew 0 people, and I was definitely looked like I wasn't from Arizona.
Wow. So you were living in Long Beach before you came back? Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in Long Beach. I was born in Long Beach Memorial Hospital, and just, lived in different suburbs of Long Beach or right around Long Beach, Paramount, all over Southern California.
Yeah. I lived in Paramount before I moved out here.
Really?
Yeah. Over there by, like, what was it? Rosecrans and like Downey. Like.
Yeah, I lived in Downey too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. That's crazy. I didn't even know that connection until
that gig at District, right? The District stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. So, did you experience did you remember seeing your dad like being like passed out, drunk, stuff like that? Are those like images?
There's a David Spade skit that like defines my childhood with my dad, and I guess it was maybe just a thing, but like he has this joke where like his dad would show up once a year with like the newest Nerf football, and he'd be like my hero for a day, and then he'd disappear.
Right.
So that was like kind of it. My mom and my dad were married, like a shotgun wedding, because she got pregnant, and she was Catholic, and so that's what you were supposed to do, is to get married. And they didn't. I don't even think it lasted a year. So like I have like no memories of my dad growing up. It's just me and my mom. He would kind of pop into town like maybe once a year.
Yeah.
And
do you guys talk about that now?
Me and my dad?
Yeah.
No.
Those times?
No. No.
No.
No. No. That's all I'll say.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
No, I mean,
weird.
It's.
Because childhood that's a very crucial time,
Yeah.
And it kind of either breaks you or makes you, one of the two. And
I was really lucky, man. Straight up, I grew up alcoholic parents. My dad obviously was not around because of drugs and alcohol. My mom struggled with her own abuse I lived with. But my grandparents, my mom's parents, were like my savior, religiously every Wednesday they picked me up from school. So like every Wednesday I went with them and I stayed the night with them, and we did whatever we did. I was in karate when I was a kid, and then they would take me to school on Thursday. So like clockwork, every week I had this strength in my life, and I absolutely attest, the majority of who I am to their presence in my life. Like he was my father figure, and they meant everything to me.
That explains a post I've seen you post about your grandparents. Is you and your grandfather.
Yeah.
So that relationship was
very strong.
They were like probably the strongest parent figure in your life.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Are they still with us?
No. My grandmother passed from cancer. Crazy quick story. My sister, my only sister, Marie, she's named after our grandma Marie. And I get this wrong. So I thought it was the 18th birthday, but I think it's the 17th birthday. But our grandmother, Marie, passed away on my sister's 17th birthday, who's named after her. And that was pretty rough for the family, mostly for her, obviously, because then her birthday became a memory of her grandma passing,
right.
Which we all looked up to. She was an amazing woman, And then several years later, to heal that wound, her first child, Nico, was also born on her birthday, the day of our grandmother's passing. And I feel like that healed that wound.
Right.
So it's pretty crazy.
You lose a life and you gain.
So January 29th, my sister was born, our grandmother passed, and her first child was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's interesting, dude.
It's crazy.
That is crazy, man.
Yeah. I was so happy for that, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because,
yeah.
I can't speak for her, so I don't want to say like it healed it completely, but it definitely made that day something different.
Made it like a big circle.
Yeah.
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 So you're an uncle.
Yeah.
Are you a fun uncle?
Heck yeah, man. I'm the musician uncle,
Yeah, but some musicians are boring.
I was FaceTiming with them today.
Yeah.
She's got
cool.
2 boys now. They live in North Carolina. They got out of the concrete jungle of Long Beach. Her husband had a good opportunity to go move to North Carolina, so now they're in like the suburbs, and they go walk out of their beautiful apartment and these huge trees. And when me and Serenity went out and visited last summer, and went on these like nature walks, and you just go walk out of their apartment on this trail, and Serenity caught a water turtle, and there's hawks and herrings, and just like
Wow.
it's
That's
just
so cool.
so different than Long Beach, right?
Right,
Like
right.
so happy for their family.
Yeah, I don't remember taking my dogs for walks, and if you did, you were weird. And if whoever was walking their dog is usually some cholo gangster
With a
or
pit bull?
something with a pit bull. Well, because back in the days, the hardcore dogs. I was just telling my son this morning because I saw somebody walk a Doberman.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember Dobermans used to be what pit bulls are now?
Yeah, me and my dad and my brother, when I moved out here, we got a Doberman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, to have a Doberman was a symbol of power.
Yeah.
And then Rottweilers, like in the 90s,
Yeah.
late 90s, whatever. So I remember, like, those were the dogs. And you'd want to, like, walk the other side of the street because you didn't want to be around it.
With those
It was
ears
scary.
pinned up.
Yeah, or they'll chop them off.
Yeah.
And then they'd have, like, the chain. It just looked scary,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I used to do that. Walk
You-
away, yeah. To the other side of the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, hi, doggy, from far, because no.
Yeah, I walk my dogs now. No one walks away from them.
And everybody knows.
Yeah, everybody knows. Yeah, but they think they're big.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
They think they're big dogs. So
Yeah.
it's kind of. Now, tell me something. Perreira,
Oh no.
is that your name?
Legally.
Moment of truth, moment of truth.
Legally, no.
Legally, no.
My legal name's Jeremy Lee Perry.
Yeah.
And I use my middle name Lee. And I'll tell a little bit of backstory. And Perreira is our family name from Portugal. So when my grandfather's grandfather, I think it is, right?
Grandfather's
Either his dad or the dad previous moved from Portugal. And it was crazy. I was just telling this story. They moved from Portugal. They were Perreira. Landed in New York. Went all the way across the country to Oakland and dipped over to Hawaii. Like they just, and then they just stayed in Hawaii for several years and then moved back to Oakland like as if they just always been here. So like they never had papers, they never got
Wow.
approved by like the U.S. or nothing like that. They just dipped to Hawaii, and then when they moved back to Oakland from Hawaii, they were just accepted like, oh, they came from Hawaii, like
Right.
they just been here.
Right.
And I guess way back in the day, there was a big Portuguese contingent in Oakland. So like growing up, it's definitely not that now, but we like drove through the neighborhood, and he pointed out like the 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom little house that he grew up in Oakland. And but yeah, so my family name's from Portugal is Perreira. When they moved to Hawaii, they changed it to Perry to be American.
Yeah.
And then when I was in my original band, Isle of Essence, for a number of years before I started playing music for a living, everybody knew me as Jeremy Perreira. And we had some differences after like 9 years, and I quit the band, and some people asked me, they're like, how do you quit your band? And I was like,
That you created? It was
Yeah.
a band you created. You were the front man and everything?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Okay.
and
What kind of music do you guys do?
like bluesy rock and roll.
Kind of what you do now? in a
Yeah,
sense, or-
similar. And it was like my identity was like Jeremy from Isle of Essence, And when I was like, cool, I'm out of here, I'm gonna do my own thing, and I Googled Jeremy Perreira, and he was a Hawaiian football player, and I Googled Lee Perreira, and there was nobody. And so I was like, done. Like, I'm gonna be Lee Perreira. And for a while, like, I still get crap from my family. Like, they're like, Lee. I'm like, I didn't make up Prince. I didn't make up some crazy name. This is my legal middle name.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I don't feel weird when somebody
Right.
says
You
Lee.
gave it to me.
Yeah.
It's like, Mom, you gave me that name. What's going on here?
But like Serenity doesn't call me Lee. She calls me Jeremy.
Oh, okay.
And
I think the first time I ever got paid from you, I go, who's Jeremy? Who's paying me? just so you know, sometimes I play with Lee. And then first time you ever quick pay me or whatever,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, who the heck is this?
I stalk his schedule. I'm like, oh, and then I hit him up like, hey, you got Friday off, bro. I see you got Friday off.
That literally just happened. I was supposed to be, we had taken off to go to LA.
Oh yeah.
And I hadn't gone to the NAMM show like in 10 years. I was like, I want to go just to, I wanted to check out some gear. And so we're going to go. And then we decided not to. This year, this year's been like nonstop for us. And we have goals. This is one of them right here. you're watching one of our goals come to fruition, and so we're like, you know what? Let's just focus on that, and let's stay. And that's why I had Friday off, which is a rare thing, you know. So, and then Lee's like, dude, you have Friday off. Can you come play with me Friday?
Don't say you don't. I saw your calendar.
Right. You have an album out called "What's That Got to Do with My Dream."
Yep.
Great recording, great songs. First song, "Born in the LBC," man. What's it about, bro?
Just exactly that. Growing up, it's funny. Both my dad and my mom didn't really like the song at first because it's
a little
sad
because it's kind of retrospective of what you went through.
Like I said, I grew up alcoholic family. That's just what it was. You know what I mean? Super blessed that it wasn't worse than it was, and that song kind of just reflects that. And I'm not trying to get into like a religious thing, but my dad definitely doesn't like the line, born in LBC, Jesus wasn't saving me. Like, it was an alone time of my life, Again, blessed that my grandparents were there to have like a steady positive influence. But, for the most part, like, it was pretty rough. And I saw a lot of stuff that, a child shouldn't see. And to be honest, what's just crazy is that as I've gone further into being sober and further into like forward thinking, I've also kind of like uncovered some things that I haven't remembered, or maybe that I repressed or pushed back, which has been pretty interesting, because the clearer that I've become, the more aware of my actions, my reactions, my thoughts, and being with somebody like with Serenity, who's allowed me the space to make mistakes and kind of see like, man, part of my French, I kind of react like a dick sometimes,
right.
to things that like don't call for that, right? You know what I mean? It's like, and when I'm able to take a step back, I'm like, man, why did I react that way?
Right.
Why did I, like, obviously there's no ill intent. She's proven time and time again that she's just as much as a rock as my grandparents were. I went to prison. She, was there for me every day. We talked on the phone. She wrote me letters. She put money on my books. She was there through me through all my years of trial. Like, how could I ever say this woman isn't there for me? So
correct.
When all those things kind of come together in a clear frame of mind, I'm able to honestly look at it and try to figure out why I am the way that I am, and a lot of that stems from my childhood. And I may want to not look at that sometimes and be like, no, I'm cool. I'm cool. Look how far I've come. Like, I'm doing good things, whatever. But like, until I address those things and really honestly look at them, they're just gonna keep popping up. And like, I don't want that. I want to honestly, truly, genuinely move forward in my life.
That's awesome because you titled the album "What's That Got to Do with My Dreams?"
Yeah.
And you start out with this track. It's a pretty dark part of your life.
Yeah.
And many people will try to forget it. And I'm sure maybe in a lot of ways, this is what led you to a lot of things, drinking and, trying to forget these things, even wipe your memory, like you just said earlier.
Yeah.
And people do that on a day-in-day life because they're afraid to face the dragon.
Yeah.
Face,
pain.
that.
Or pain. You
or
just
pain,
don't
yeah,
wanna...
because nobody wants to relieve pain.
Right.
No one likes pain.
No.
But
and habits and lifestyle is a real thing too. You know what I mean? So like, maybe at one time I was doing it consciously, right? But then it becomes unconscious.
Right.
Playing music for a living, I would never have said like, man, I'm an alcoholic, I have a problem, right? But I'm accepting free drinks on my tab every single night. Then I get to a point where it's like, well, I don't need a drink, but I want a drink, And it's like, now it's become this habit, it's become this lifestyle. And now I'm not even aware of maybe why I started drinking, or maybe I was trying to eliminate something or not think about something, but now it's just like a lifestyle. And then to be able to remove myself from that becomes a whole other thing. It's like, I got to remove this lifestyle and this habit just to get back to the problem that I was avoiding, and then I have to deal with this problem.
Right.
Yeah.
do you think it just builds more pain?
100%. Because
the fear of like not wanting to face the pain, I just feel like all you're adding is newer pain, maybe. Now you have to go back, retrace.
I mean,
go to the root
even
of
the
it.
pain of removing the substance, right?
Yeah.
Like that's real,
Right.
you know. I mean, and also I feel like there's there's like that stigma or like the lifestyle is like, you know, I got to drink whiskey to play music. You know what I mean? It's like I got to do this thing. I got to smoke weed to be inspired.
And I see that all the time. Like, for some reason, people think that musicians, that they automatically like to drink or that they enjoy drinking. Like everybody that always wants to buy you drinks, you know? And I'm like, they'll ask me, like, what does he drink? What kind of scotch or what kind of...
And the reaction you get when you say, I
Yeah,
don't, or I
yeah.
don't, they're like, what?
Right,
They're
right.
like, what?
Right.
Or some of them feel a little offended, you know, and I can
yeah.
tell, you know, and I'm like,
They'll throw you $10 in my tip bucket. How about that?
yeah.
No, you don't got
Just-
cash? Venmo?
Yeah. Right. Correct.
Right.
Are you using that for tips?
It's happened for sure.
I guess I gotta start using that
Please,
for tips. Bro. Yeah.
do it.
I know.
I've definitely got Venmos from people.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm not as bold as you, bro. Like, you know, people give me tips. I'm like, cool, man. I mean, you know, I'm playing because I got to work and I like playing, obviously. But when it comes to tips, I'm just kind of like, I feel shy. But there's some people that are bold, man.
I mean,
I'll be like, I accept everything.
I'm not like New Orleans or Austin where they like put the tip bucket in your face. You know what I mean?
All right.
But I mean,
performing, they go around with the hat.
yeah.
Hey, come closer, everybody. Come
Yes,
closer.
yes.
Street performers.
That's real.
right.
I mean,
No, I know.
Yeah.
but I mean, but yeah, back to the alcohol thing. I mean, like it's such a culture, right? And so, you know, something. There's a guy named David Goggins. He talks about the cookie jar, which is I like that concept, which is just like the cookie jar is like where you have things that you've accomplished, so you can pull on that for strength at times, you know. And you know, when I went to prison, I wrote 20 songs. So I wrote 20 songs in prison, surrounded by awfulness, completely sober, you know, on a pawn shop guitar that the high E would never tune, you know. So like when I think about that, like obviously I do not need a substance to be creative,
Right.
Correct.
you know, but that stigma and that stereotype exists, you know what I mean, and that's real. So like I'm grateful for experiences that I'm able to pull on and remember and be like, cool, you know, like I have a single coming out July 3rd called Doctor's Orders. That's the first song that will go from prison to recorded to released, you know.
That's cool.
So let's retract very quick. 'cause
Okay,
you-
yeah.
I mean, you're throwing in the prison thing like whatever, but it's not whatever. It's not whatever. It's you know, that's not a normal thing for someone to go to prison. What led to this point? Why did you go?
Alcohol, bad decisions. I was kind of reflecting a little bit, and you know, sometimes when you get like far away from something, you look back and it's almost like it didn't happen, and sometimes you look back and you're like, damn, you know.
Right.
And it was, you know, no excuses, but it was a tumultuous time in my life and in my family's life. My brother, my only brother, was struggling with heroin. He basically, like, no family would take him in anymore because he was stealing. Stealing from my dad, stealing from wherever. You know, he would hit me up to crash at my place, and you know, I would tell him no. You know, I'd say like, I'll buy you food. I'll pay for a bill, but I can't give you cash, and I can't let you stay with me. You know, and it was a very interesting place to be in, not allowing your brother to come stay with you, worried that he might steal what you use to make a livelihood out of.
Right.
And at the same time, you know, I was accepting drinks every night at these gigs, and driving around like I was, you know, immune to what could happen. And within 30 days, I got 2 DUIs. The first one was in September of 2013. Yeah. September 2013, I got a DUI. Not even a month, 30 days later, I got another DUI in Scottsdale. Probably, yeah, I could say it because it's all past it. We signed everything. But crazy, it was so close to each other that the second DUI didn't set off, because it was in Phoenix and Scottsdale, didn't set off a thing that said it was my second DUI. It was so close it said it was my first. And I saw that on the plea agreement. I signed that shit. And they put me on ankle bracelet for 30 days, right?
Right.
But if they would have known it was my second DUI, I would have had a much stiffer punishment. While I was on my ankle bracelet, instead of being in Tin City or jail or wherever I should have been, right, my brother died.
Oh, man.
So heroin got him. You know, he went, was not doing good. He got picked up and put into a home to try to rehab. He was in really bad shape, though, and I don't even think he was there a week, and they were like, yo, like, something is wrong with you. Rushed him to the hospital, did some tests, found out that he had holes in some of his heart valves, and they said, we had hope. They said that he had a 70% chance of making it out of surgery. So he had to go into surgery to repair the holes in his heart, and had a 70% chance, right? Well, he didn't make it. He never came back from surgery. And but the thing is that I got to be there, right? When all this went down, I called my probation officer, whoever was in charge of me, and I told him the situation. I was like, look at, like, you know, my brother's dying. Like I don't care what you need to do to me or what type of trouble I'm gonna get in, but like, I'm leaving the house, even though I'm not scheduled or allowed to.
Like, how often were you allowed to leave the house?
I luckily, like, doing what I do for a living, I just had to submit to them a weekly schedule. So like, they knew I'd be at culinary dropout from 7 to 10 or whatever. I'd be out of the house from 6 to 11 or whatever.
You had to check in every time you came back home?
Yeah, so the ankle bracelets are super fun. You know, every...
Wait, did I meet you around this time?
Maybe. I don't know.
Crazy. Okay.
But yeah, you know, if you've never been on an ankle bracelet, I don't recommend it. But, you know, at about 6 a.m. in the morning, because they're on like Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type schedule. Yeah. This very, very loud alarm goes off. And you have to get to the machine within 60 seconds and blow into the machine because it's checking your breath for alcohol. And then it has voice recognition to make sure that it's you. And I believe the words were Red, United States, and America or something. And, you know, sometimes in the morning your voice is a little groggly.
And it has to recognize your voice.
Yes, yes. Otherwise you fail. And so many fails, then there's consequences. So, like, I'd be like, all right, America, or whatever. And it'd be like, like, you know, I'd be like, oh, and you know, sometimes, like, I might say red, I might say red, I might say, you mean, you talk differently.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, depends on the level of excitement.
I'm like,
how warmed up your voice
red,
is.
America.
Red America.
Yeah, so it was an interesting time. But, I mean, like, how grateful was I that...
Wow, bro.
That hit that, right? So then... Now my brother dies, right?
Oh,
so,
man, bro. I'm so sorry about your brother, bro.
Yeah, me too. And so, like, I was like, you know, obviously I got to change my life, you know? Now I'm my dad's only child. You know, all I got left is my sister. My brother's got, you know, 2 kids. 2 kids? Yeah. And, like, you know, I need to be present, you know? And like 2-3 months go by and I wasn't drinking, and I was like a week away from no longer to like get my license back and stuff like that. And straight up, I was like, how am I gonna get to my gigs? Like, I got gear, I got stuff, and so I was driving around on a suspended license, and I got popped in February, and that's like a whole another story, but. Excuse me. I got popped for a 3rd DUI on a suspended license, which is a felony. And
so, your drinking didn't stop though, even after.
I cut way back, and like straight up that night was like I wasn't drinking, but then I showed up somewhere, and sober after I had already played, and the people that were there were like, "Come on, like have a drink, like whatever, you know." Right. I was like, "No," and they're like, "Oh, I just won," you know. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then they got popped on the way home.
Was it one?
I had a shot and a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
see, a lot of people don't realize what it takes sometimes for a DUI. They think they have to be
super
slurring the
drunk.
words,
Yeah.
and
And I
and
mean,
then I'm sure a shot in the beer wasn't really much for you. It didn't do anything to your system.
I mean, I guess you really don't know, right?
Right.
But I mean, like, I felt fine. I didn't get pulled over for swerving or nothing. I was in downtown Phoenix in a 25 zone, and some dude was taking forever to make a right-hand turn, and I punched it around him, and got popped going like 36 in the 25. But then as soon as they pulled me over,
Yeah.
I had a suspended license,
Right.
right? And I have 2 past DUIs.
Yeah.
And the police officers were like super cool. I had gear in my car. They waited while a friend came and picked up my gear, like 30 minutes on the side of the road, because obviously my car was gonna get impounded. But I talked with them for a while. Like I refused to do any of the roadside tests and stuff. I'm like, cool, take my blood. You know what I mean? Like, in my mind, I was like, I'll be under the legal limit. You know what I mean? Like, and I ended up being over the legal limit, and I fought the case for 3 years. I got a lawyer, and the police officers testified that I didn't appear to be intoxicated, not even to the slightest degree. I was actually found innocent of driving under the influence of alcohol, but I was found guilty of having a BAC because the blood test said I was at .11.
Wow.
And so for 3 years I fought that. For 3 years. So then
So just with that amount of drinking, it does take you over the limit.
Yeah, I mean, we fought it because it's a whole long
Because everybody
story.
was cool. Yeah. I mean,
And like it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? The machine that tested my blood is thrown out of the state of Arizona. It no longer exists because it was swapping blood vials. So we had a case to fight. Who knows what my BAC really is? And I don't want to get into like I didn't deserve it. Like
Right.
I had a drink. I was driving a suspended license. I was doing something wrong. Like I shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
And that changed my life. Like, not to like jump ahead, we can just a little preview. But like the first marathon I ever ran was in prison. So like, would I be here right now, doing what I'm doing?
Is this
if
where
that didn't
the
happen?
marathon musicians start?
The idea birthed in prison. Yeah. When I was there, I was friendly, but I wasn't trying to make friends. There were some decent people in there that made my time go by faster, and I appreciated their stuff. But like, I wasn't like, bro, hit me up on Facebook when we get out of here. You know what I mean? So, I was this crazy gringo white dude that was just running laps all day. I'd always run like 5 to 7 to 8 miles a few times a week. It's something I picked up from my grandfather. And so that's what I did. And so I would go out in the yard and I'd run in the morning, and then, I'd read, and then I would get bored. And
Forrest Gump.
yeah.
Well, you're in a whole new world. There's a whole new world for
whole
you.
new world. If I only had that magic carpet, man.
What, so running, did that take you out of like maybe getting yourself in problems with people in there? And
The things that really saved me in there was running, because people literally thought I was like crazy, because I was in there from like April or March to July, something like that. I was in there for 4 months, and so a majority of it was like pretty hot, and the sun would just beat you up, you know what I mean? So I would run in like my orange sweater and my orange pants and my orange hat, like to cover up my skin, because like, I'll get real dark.
right.
And so, I would run it, and people would just be like, bro, you're crazy. Like, what are you doing? But like, take it back to my childhood. Like, I grew up trimming palm trees with my dad out here, So like, we'd work 8-10 hours in the sun, climbing palm trees with chainsaws. Like, I can run laps, bro. Like, it's fine.
The sun didn't affect you.
No, I've always been that way. The cold makes me miserable, but the heat, like, I can deal with.
And I'm the opposite.
I don't like the heat.
I like the cool.
But I can deal with
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And then playing guitar, right?
Right.
So, not tooting my own horn, but like, I was like the most talented person on the yard. So like, I got a lot like, bro, play that Drake song again, man, that's dope. Or play that Sublime song. So like, people were cool with me,
That's cool.
And so I was in there, I was running, and maybe a couple of months went by. I'm getting in better shape, doing whatever. At this point, I'm running like maybe 5 to 8 miles in the morning, and then I'd run 5 to 8 miles at night, and it was just kind of compounding. And one day somebody told me it was like, whatever the feet was, it was like so many feet, which is like a little bit more than a quarter mile running the perimeter of the yard. And so like, you're just trying to think of stuff, you know what I mean? So somebody said something about a marathon, and I was just like, I'll freaking run a marathon there. And people were like, no way, bro, you ain't running no marathon in prison, you know what I mean? Like, you crazy, you know? But it was something to make time go by, right? So I created like a 9-week training program on my own. I was like, cool, let's just create this thing.
Did anybody join you?
No.
You were the only one running a marathon.
Yep.
Did they watch you?
Oh yeah, and yeah. People were like watching.
Where did you go? Like where did you run? They have a field?
No, I mean there's like a they call it like the yard, right? And so I just ran the perimeter yard. So in the yard there's like an area for like little softball, baseball. There's like area for soccer. Area for
did
basketball.
you time how many times you have to go around that?
It was 102 laps is what I needed to do, and I did it in like a little more than 5 hours.
So who was counting? You were?
Me? Oh yeah.
But no one counted with you? Like, just
no, I mean like some people were cool and like, you know.
Was there like a record? Is it like a Guinness World Record? Like, a prisoner like running laps and 102 laps. That's a lot of laps.
Bro.
And what month was it?
I did it on the week before Father's Day in June. So,
Wow.
So it's already what?
It's
triple
hot.
digit?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
triple digits.
Yeah.
for sure.
104.
And I was gonna. Oh yeah, I was gonna do
goodness.
it on Father's Day because that's just kind of. It wasn't any sort of significance. It was just I created this 9-week program for myself, you know, to get up to that level, but Father's Day weekend that year was supposed to be like in the teens, like 114 or 15, and
Oh, my goodness.
this weekend was like 105, right?
Oh,
I
you got lucky.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna do it this Saturday.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And on Saturdays.
Did you tell people?
Oh,
Did you make
pe-
it a thing?
People knew, yeah, and like people thought I was crazy. I was crazy gringo. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Did you have a
Like,
nickname?
They just called me by my last name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pereira?
No, Perry.
Or Perry?
Yeah. Yeah.
No one
yeah.
knew the Pereira name?
No. And now I know if anybody's like, "Hey, Perry," I'm like,
Or maybe it's a lost long uncle or aunt or something.
no. All these things are on purpose.
Wow. And we're on purpose talk. By the way, this is like the most unconventional beginning of a podcast we've done.
Yeah.
I'm talking with my friend Lee. Lee's an old friend. We've known each other, what, 5 years?
Yeah,
4 years?
for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's a musician in town. Works. He just told me he did 10 gigs. 10 gigs this week?
10 gigs last week. Yeah.
And we're talking about your life, man. A lot of people don't know what's behind the guitar and the vocals.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool that you're sharing with us. And I want to thank you.
Mm-hmm. We want to thank you.
We want to thank you for coming. So
I
just to
was
catch
super stoked.
everybody else, Lee Perreira is a local singer here in Phoenix and soon to be more than just in Phoenix. So right,
Yeah.
and that's the
working on it.
goal. He has an album out called "What's I Got to Do with My Dream," and this is just who Lee is. This is a man with stories, and there's a lot of stories behind. When you pick up music from an artist, there's stories behind those, and so I like to hear that. There is a dark part of your life, but you're owning up to it.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting here talking to me, and you're owning up to something that you're responsible for.
Yeah.
Because too many people put blames on other people.
Mm-hmm.
They never want to take responsibility. What made you start self-analyzing yourself and going, dude, I got to take a hold of this?
For me, it really started with my brother passing. Obviously, doesn't need to be said that was a life-changing experience.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
What it did to me, what it did to our family, So straight up, that taught me what true gratefulness was, immediately. Like, I can tell you genuinely I'm grateful for my toes and my feet and being here on your couch with some people that have genuine love, And, would I trade that for my brother again? Hell yeah, But there's some Will Smith movie out there that's like, for everything that's like get taken. There's something given. You know, I forget what it's called, but I'm not like a big movie person.
Which movie is it?
I'm not sure. I'm not a big movie person. I don't know.
It sounds like a deep movie.
It was.
Was it the one with the son? No.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay. Keep going.
But it's the yin and yang and stuff, right? That it was a huge life lesson that I learned from that, and that was like the beginning of
What can you like advise or tell people who have relatives that go through that? I mean, you got to the point where you had to. It almost felt like you were rejecting your brother, although that wasn't it. You know, he had gone so far beyond his control.
Yeah.
What can you advise? What can you tell? You know, like, hey Lee, I have a son, or I have a nephew, or I have a brother, or I have a sister, or daughter, or whatever that's going through this. And
I mean, growing up in an alcoholic household, I mean, they won't change till they're ready. You know.
yeah.
You know, I dealt with it with my mom, who is a huge inspiration to me now. She's over 5 years sober.
Great.
We have a beautiful relationship, you know. But, you know, as a child growing up with her, like, it didn't matter how much I wanted her to be sober. You know, I have memories of, crawling up next to her and literally, like smelling. And she'd be like, yes, I had a drink. You know what I mean? Like, get off of me. You know what I mean? And going through my own stuff, you know what I mean? Like, straight up, like, when I was drinking every night of the week, Serenity was like, yo, you're probably drinking a lot. And I'm like, nah, I'm not drinking a lot. What do you mean? I only have a few every night, you know? And as I say now, it seems so clear, right? But until, like, it becomes clear for that person, and, you know, you hope somebody doesn't need to die before other people see. You know, you hope that somebody's bottom it isn't death, you know? And it's tough, man. For me, it's something I've said a long time. A friend said it back to me, and since they said it back to me, it's never left my head, and that is, when you truly walk your path, you'll truly see who walks with you, right? So, like, you don't need to worry about pleasing other people. You know, the confidence that I carry today is because every day I'm meditating, every day I'm reading, every day I'm saying daily affirmations, every day I'm running, every day I'm doing these things. And when I do all the things that I know make me a better human, that make me a kinder fiancé, that make me a better person at gigs, interacting, genuinely smiling with people, like, nobody can take that confidence from me, right? Like, I know that I'm doing the right thing. And so, you know, to assess a situation with my brother and to say, like, look, I'm here to help you with genuine help, you know, but no, I can't give you cash. No, I can't let you sleep with me, but I'll drive you to a place that you can sleep at.
Right.
I'll drive you to a rehab place, you know. Very, very small amount of time in the natural process of grieving, I question whether or not I should feel guilty, but I don't, you know,
No.
because I was being a good human, and I was offering what was acceptable. You know, I saw a lot of enabling throughout my life, whether it was with my mom, whether it's with my brother, you know, and enabling doesn't do anything. It just extends the situation. So it's almost kind of like, let's pull the rug out of somebody and pray that they're going to land on their feet. But if you just keep enabling any situation, it's going to continue, right? That person's never going to learn that lesson.
Right.
And that's tough, man, because you love somebody. Like,
Right.
I don't know what it's like to lose a child. You know what I mean? Like, my dad, seeing the pain that my dad went through, seeing the pain that me and my brother have a different mom, seeing the pain that she's gone through and, you know, still carries, like, that's insane. You know what I mean? But we're not in control of another human, you know? I think one of the greatest things that has happened in my life since I've got a hold of it and continue to make, since I've made a priority to try to become a better human, right? My relationship's gotten better, my business has gotten better, every aspect of my life has gotten better. But the priority is to be a better human. And the best
People
thing,
focus on the wrong thing.
the best thing that's happened is I've had other musicians or other friends hit me up just to say, bro, what are you doing? Like, I see you posting inspirational stuff. I see it seems like you're happy. I see like you're living a better life. Like, what are you doing? And I'll gladly pick up the phone and be like, cool, bro. Like, this is what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And I won't say names because, you know, everybody's on their own journey. But, like, it's an honor. And it only inspires me to go deeper into that, right? Because, like Serenity said when I ran the marathons last time, like, inspiration inspires inspiration, you know? And that's intangible. You can't measure that.
Wow. That's awesome, bro.
Thank you.
That also will bring a lot of affirmation to people who probably feel bad.
It's tough.
You know? And they go, maybe I'm not being, but, you know, like you said, you can't enable, you can't. And they're going to have to come to it in their own terms, you know? And the love that you show, it comes in a different way. Hey, I can take you somewhere where you can sleep. I can take you somewhere where you can find help. You know, but you're going to have to make that decision, you know? So that probably brings a lot of, like, calmness to people who are probably going through that, you know, like, because they probably feel bad, guilty, you know? And so I'm sure, thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
You have a new single.
Yes, sir.
That you just released.
Yeah.
Bonafide.
Yeah.
Speaking of Serenity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that song.
It's just about, like, her love and support, you know? First line's like, to my queen, my future bride, like, you know, thank you for all your support, you know? Like, my grandparents showed me what true love was, you know? Through cancer. My grandmother had a degenerative spine towards the end of her life, and my grandfather, you know, shaved her legs and put on her lipstick, and, you know, they showed me what real love was, you know. And in my head, I always told myself I would never settle, you know. So I'd be in a relationship or whatever, and, like, something was off, something wasn't right, you know. Maybe I stayed in the relationship longer than I should have, or whatever the case may be. But I knew, like, no, like, this is what I want, you know. And then being with Serenity, I mean, dude, for 6 years I haven't driven. You know, as I mentioned before we started, like, I can't wait to just open the passenger door for her, you know, and not be like, hey, babe, like, I'd like to get some tomatoes and avocados at the store. Can you give me a ride? You know, I need to drop off my dry cleaning, you know, like she has time and time again, like, stood by me and supported me. And, you know, when I lost my grandfather, like, I was a wreck, you know, like, he was like my father figure, you know, and I didn't know how it would make me feel. And there's other different stages of grieving, but, like, I was really angry, like unknown. Like, I never felt, like, I didn't feel that with my brother, you know. But I was pissed, man. And I was like, anything that went wrong, like, I remember, it's like a joke now, right? But, like, a little screw fell into the garbage disposal. I turned it on, and, like, I freaked out, bro. I, like, freaked out. Oh my God, this girl, like, just, like, losing my mind, you know.
Wow.
And how?
I mean, in the sense, it's like you lost your father figure.
Yeah.
No.
But, like, I didn't know what to expect. And, like, you know, one thing I can be guilty of is, like, reacting to energy, you know, reacting to other people and whatever. But, like, she has been such a calm presence in my life, you know. Like, I would be in this dark place, I'd be in this angry place, you know, due to circumstances, my grandfather, and she would just be there loving, you know. And in those moments, like, I would snap at her, right? You know, like, I'm upset about this thing, she'd say something, and I would be in a place where I would be rude to her, you know. And she didn't react back, you know. Like, she's literally physically, emotionally, spiritually shown me what real love is, you know. She's been an example of it. And, like, man, I can't thank her enough for that. Like, it's those moments where it's like, not only was it supporting to me and helped me in a time of need, but it also showed me something to strive for, you know. It's pretty crazy.
Wow, that's amazing, bro.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
and so this song is just about her. Yeah.
Bonafide?
Yeah, I say Bonafide.
Bonafide.
Bonafide, yeah. Sounds
Bonafide is out
As of, like, 2 weeks ago.
as 2 weeks ago. Good song. I've played it with you before.
You have.
Yeah,
You have.
I've played it with you
Good
many
song.
times. It's a great song.
Thank you.
Serenity's a lucky woman to have a guy like you.
I'm a lucky man.
And I like this story. Now, we're going to talk about the marathons very quick.
Sure.
When you ran to LA, this man ran to LA. We haven't even gotten to that part yet. Like, so far, we've talked about some amazing things in your life that you've gone through. And Now, this one is not something you've gone through. This is something you're putting yourself through on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great cause. And in the middle of the marathon, there's another test of your fiance's love. Her grandmother, right? It was her grandmother.
Yeah.
Was going through some tough times. And, this is a moment where you're doing something, huge in your life. And she's the one backing you up. I mean, she's picking you up
Yeah.
I mean, this is an incredible journey.
Yeah.
I would log in as much as I could to see you running, and I'm like, I'm just seeing your hands. I can see your hands in front because you're carrying. I mean, you just told us earlier you're 15 pounds of.
Yes, I had like a Camelback with like 2 liters of water. I had burritos that she made for me. I had all kinds of food. I had a battery pack that was hooked up to my iPhone to back up the live stream that was going on Facebook, and so it was like 15 pounds of gear. I had a front mounted like iPhone holder that was showing what
this man ran from Phoenix to LA.
Yeah,
man,
Crazy.
I can't even run to my mailbox, bro. This guy ran to LA, and so it was like you had a checkpoint, right?
Yeah.
Every day, and Serenity would pick you up.
Yeah, I mean, somebody asked me this time was talking about, because we'll be doing it again March 29th, to document more of like her perspective,
That's kind of cool.
There's a little bit of that in the video that I put on my Facebook page. It's pinned at the top on January 1st. It's a 15-minute documentary.
Is that the one where you got lost? Like you were like out of touch with networks, and you were like a little bit lost.
That's part of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like a 15-minute documentary of the 16 days in the marathons, and like it can't be stated, like all the food that she made for me, all the driving. So like if you start adding it up, day one I left our front door in South Phoenix. I ran 27.2 miles, I think, that day. Ended up in Buckeye or whatever. So then she picked me up 27 miles away. Brought me home 27 miles. Then the next day she drove me out 27 miles, dropped me off, drove back home 27 miles. Then picked me up, now I'm like 50-something miles away. Then drove back 50-something miles. Then the next day drove me 50 miles away, dropped me at a checkpoint, then drove home. Then picked me up 75, 80 miles away, then came back. Over the course of the first week, that's what it looked like,
Right.
So she's logging miles, as well as like making me food, as well as being stressed that her man's out there on the road in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so then...
Was it this time of year?
Yeah, it's March and April last year.
Yeah, okay. So the weather was...
It was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't too bad.
And then the middle
But
section...
it's still desert, and the sun's still beaming.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, bro, like I think day 5 or something, I started wearing like gloves, because like... The tan I had my hands were like so dark.
Yeah.
The back of my neck was like so dark.
Were you worried about your skin, at least?
I'm not. Serenity, started spraying me down with some
Well,
stuff.
because, it's... You see construction workers in the summertime, and they're covered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and it's a serious thing. And I always be like, dude, isn't it hot? But it's like, that sun's hotter on your skin.
yeah.
And it would be on the
And when I
clothes.
ran the marathon in prison, I wore all that stuff too, because when I'd be out there training, right, you're just getting beat down and your skin is just getting murdered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, that in the middle section of the marathons, we would stay at like a hotel in like India or wherever it was, for like 3 days, and then we'd move our location, whatever. And then the back end of it, my mom still lives in Long Beach, so we would stay with my mom the last few days.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to the LBC.
Back to the LBC.
So in the middle of this whole journey you're in, your lady gets a call, about her grandma,
Yeah.
and she decides to stay with you for the rest of the marathon.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to both of you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys are for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you've come to that knowledge and awareness, which a lot of people don't. They don't, that saying that you don't know what you have until you lose it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's better to know when you have it than to lose it.
Oh my God.
Why not realize it and celebrate that? It's sometimes people think it's not rock and roll enough to celebrate your woman. It's not cool enough to celebrate your woman. But it's like, you don't understand the support.
Yeah.
That support means everything, and sometimes it's the only support you have.
Yeah.
And you're getting that affirmation. You're getting that, you know where you're going, even if the whole world doesn't know it yet.
Yeah.
And something that's crazy is running to LA.
I mean, she was everything, bro.
Yeah.
Everything.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
so you started
us.
a charity
Yeah.
after this run. It was the equivalent of 16 marathons to get to LA.
Yeah. 16 marathons in 16 consecutive days.
16 days.
Yeah. And just to like touch base on it, just so like it said, day 14, 3 days left of this journey. I talked to her, a couple hours after I started that day. And like, who she is, she doesn't even want to tell me that something's going on with her family. You know what I mean? And she tells me we got 3 days left, and she gets a call that her grandma's got 3 days left to live.
Oh, man.
And, I'm out here on the road running. She's in a hotel by herself, and I'm trying to, and Lincoln, loaned us a car.
Yeah.
Right. So like,
Yeah, you got sponsored. I remember you wearing the hat.
Reason I bring it up is because like, I don't drive. Right. So like, I'm like, well, Serenity's got to go home, like I'll finish this. It's going to be tougher, obviously, but I'll get through this. But how is like, this Lincoln going to get back to the dealership? You know what I mean? So I'm like on the phone with our contact, Lincoln, saying like, hey, this is the situation. And he's such a beautiful human. He's just like, bro, you take care of your family. You want me to get her a ticket? I'll get her a ticket. Like, that's how like amazing they are. Sanderson, Lincoln, Bell. Like Patrick is an angel.
Shout out to Sanderson, Lincoln.
Yeah, straight up, they're sponsoring us again.
Cool.
And, but so like, she didn't want nothing, But I talked to Patrick. We created this whole like way how like, look, it's possible. Don't think. I didn't want her to think she's stuck,
Right.
Family first. And so I hit her up, and she was just like, no, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be here for you.
Wow.
And day 16, in the middle of that day, her grandma passes. And it's just crazy. It's like
The day you showed up to LA?
Yeah, the day I got to Burbank.
Did you find out after or during?
In the middle?
Yeah.
And I mean, the running with those packs, I never ran faster than day 14 when I found out her grandmother had 3 days left to live.
Yeah, you wanted to get to the checking point and get to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
you get that call while you were in live?
There were some private moments that happened in the midst, and I shut the live stream off.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's got to be like that.
Yeah.
So
that
keep private.
And bathroom breaks.
What? You weren't streaming?
While I was streaming, I see what you did there.
You saw that. All right. So the goal running to LA was to get to Ellen.
Yeah.
Did you get on the Ellen show?
I did not get on the Ellen show. I don't really even care anymore. There was a point that they said I wasn't supposed to talk about some of this stuff, but it just is what it is, right?
Right.
So, as a musician, I always thought, like, how could I get a big break, right? I feel like, you're super talented. I feel like if Stanley Serrano was on the Jimmy Fallon show, your life would change, right? People would be exposed to the talent that you are.
Yeah.
There's so many people in this town that deserve that opportunity, right?
Was that what this was?
So it started as that, right? So you talk about the whole metamorphosis. First marathon I ever ran was in prison. Then in prison, I thought to promote my new album, I'll run the rock and roll marathon and then perform after, which you performed with me.
We played it, yeah.
And
I remember you came back sweating. This guy finished the marathon, was soaked. Started. Serenity had your clothes in the back.
Yeah.
Started changing your stuff, and me, Adam, and Miguel were looking at you like, this dude's crazy. And you got on stage and started like if you didn't just
run a marathon.
I'm like, don't you have to stretch? You go, nah, man, I'm good, man, I'm good. And you had like this wild,
Adrenaline.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you had this crazy look in your eye. I was like, this dude's crazy. Again, I can't even get myself. I'll get a car to go to the mailbox, and this guy's running marathon and then doing the whole show.
That's crazy. Actually, I just went to this service on Sunday, actually, and the guy giving the service his whole point was, your problems will reveal your purpose. And so if you think about it, right, I fought this case for 3 years. I lost. There's a problem, right? I got to go to prison. Like,
Big problem.
prison. Like, this is a felony. Like, I didn't go to Tent City. I went to prison, you know? But in my problem, I ran my first ever marathon. Then I ran a marathon and performed afterwards. Then I ran 16 marathons in a row. Would I have ever got this purpose in my life if I didn't have that problem? It's pretty crazy.
It is crazy. That's a powerful statement, man.
And so there's a gratefulness, right? Like, I don't look back and regret anything. Like, would I ever do anything like that again? No, of course not. But, like, it also brought me and Serenity closer together. Like, if that didn't show me she's my road dog, you know what I mean? Like, she rides.
Correct.
Bro, you know what I mean? Like, cool. Like,
If that didn't show you, I'd punch you in the face. Man. I'd be like, bro, what are you doing, bro? But okay, so let's talk about the marathon. And you said, you know, how things started morphing for you.
oh, yeah. So, sorry, I get off track. So,
No, you're good.
So,
That's what I'm here for.
thank you. So my grandparents always, before they passed, always were like, man, like, they love David Letterman. They're like, to see you on David Letterman. You know what I mean? So, like, it was always in my head to be on, like, a late night show. Like, that would be my big break, you know? Some sort of exposure. And, you know, if you throw it back, like, Arsenio Hall, he broke Toni Braxton. Like, she was an unsigned, independent artist that someone on his team was like, give this chick a chance, you know? Conan O'Brien broke Radiohead. They were an unsigned act, you know? So, like, this was always in my head as a thing. Times have changed. You know, now it's like a record label pays for that slot for their artists, right?
Right.
So what would I do? You know, what am I going to do? I always liked Ellen. I thought, I was liking it to this. Like, if you want an amazing filet mignon, you can go to Ruth Chris, right? If you want, you know, amazing live music, you can go see Stanley Serrano. You know,
Or Lee Perreira.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There you go.
So,
How did they spell it at the...
oh my God, let's come on.
Anyways, go.
Where can you go for inspiration and laughs, right? You can go to Ellen. Like, what a great source. Like, you know, if you want to smile, if you want to see some cool stuff, you can go to her. And so I thought about it for a while, and I was like, man, you know, I'd love to be on her show. I'd love to play some music on her show. Like, I feel like connected to her and that type of vibe, you know? And I thought about it for months, and I was like, then one day I was like, bro, go on her website, you know? So I hop on her website, and she said, you know, there's a section, do you want to submit to be on Ellen? And when you click on that, it's like 15 things, right? It's like, your dogs do something funny, submit that video here. Do you know a teacher that is amazing and deserves to have their student loans paid off? Submit that story here. There's like 15 things, you know what I mean, of like, you could submit to her show. And one of them said, do you want Ellen to make your dreams come true? I was like, boom! Yes! Yeah! And so in September of 2018, I forget what day I started, I submitted for 200 days in a row a video blog of saying that she inspired me, this is who I am, this is what I do, love to be on your show. For 200 plus days in a row, I submitted to be on her show. In the midst of that, I started realizing what I was already doing, right? Like, I donate my time once a month to Chrysalis, which is driving out domestic violence. I go to their crisis shelter. I perform for their residents. Whenever I can at the Cardone Hospital in Mesa for children with cancer, I go there and I perform for those children there. You know, I do these different things. There's an Alzheimer's dementia home I go to once a month and perform there, you know, for free. Like, this
Which is the one you just did today?
Advanced Healthcare.
Advanced Healthcare. You just got back from a gig. Right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And so me documenting this, right? I'm like, cool, what am I going to do for my video blog today? Oh, I'm performing for these kids with cancer. Like, this is a great thing. Like, I'll show that, right? I started realizing, like, man, I'm already making a difference in this world. Like, it kind of just made me aware of what I'm doing. And so come to December, so now we're like September, I'm like over 100 days in a row I've submitted to Ellen, and whoever team member is like seeing my name every freaking day, you know? And I did some stuff a friend recommended of how to figure out email addresses. And I started blasting to producers on Ellen. And I'll never forget this. I'm sure Serenity won't either. It's like a Monday night around 8 o'clock. I don't know when it was in December. I was blasting out to emails. I'm like, baby, I'll come down and cuddle and watch TV in a minute. I just got to get these emails out to whatever, you know? In the midst of me blasting, I get a response from associate producer on the Ellen show. I come running down the stairs with my laptop. I'm like, babe, oh my God, babe, oh my God. I got a response. Look at Ellen, like whatever, you know? And that over the course of the month of December, you know, I set up some interviews, some phone calls, background checks, like all this stuff. Like they're like, we love what you're doing. Like, awesome. Absolutely cool. We'll follow up with you in the new year, taking, you know, break for the holidays, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like,
it was going into 2019.
Yeah, going into 2019. I'm like, I'm in. I did it, babe. We did it. We made it, baby. We did it, you know? And so I'm still continuing the daily video blog, though. I'm still like, you know, I'm going to be on point. Like, I'm not stopping what I'm doing. Like, whatever. Like, I'm still on this thing. On New Year's Eve, going into 2019, on my video blog, while I'm running, which is in the documentary video that's on my Facebook page, I literally say on camera, I'm like, Ellen, I'll run to LA if I need to, right? I go home, I tell Serenity, and she's like, yeah, okay, bro. Like, just settle down. You're a little hyped up right now.
I mean, you got to understand her concerns.
Of course.
It does sound crazy.
Then I never heard from their team again. You know, I followed up in January, nothing, you know. And, you know, would I have preferred to not run to California and just be on the show? That would have been cool. You know?
Yeah.
But so my story...
Nice little hour flight.
Yeah. So my story changed, right? So, like, when I was contacted before, it's like, this is what I'm doing with my music, giving back to the community. I've gone through, you know, open about my past, lost my only brother to heroin. Like, all this stuff has made me who I am today. To all those videos made me realize all these people I was helping. I was like, cool, like, what can I do? And all these things came together. Long story short, I was like, okay, I'm going to run to LA. I'm going to live stream it so people know I'm not fooling around. Like, this is real. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to accept donations for these charities that I'm already working with to give back even more to the community.
Yeah.
I did it. I got to LA. I called the producer that I have her number. And I said, hey, like, I'm here, like, whatever. And she, like, actually answered the phone at the time that I called. Sounded like maybe she knew what I had just done. We talked for a couple of days. I was in town. Again, love what I'm doing. Nothing came out of it.
Yeah.
Since then,
Not nothing.
Well,
right?
No, not nothing.
I mean, because
as far as the Ellen,
right, the Ellen thing, but you kind of changed the perspective of the whole run.
Yeah. I mean,
what are the charities you are helping?
So, Arizona Cancer Foundation for Children, Chrysalis, Driving Out Domestic Violence, Arizona Healthcare Foundation, and then the Ellen Fund. And so I've given out. We raised over $15,000. My goal.
That was last year's run.
Last year's run.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we split that 4 ways between the charities. Like, I don't take a dime. This isn't about me trying to make some money. I turned it into a nonprofit, a 501c3, to make it even more legit.
What's the nonprofit called?
16 by 16 Incorporated.
Cool.
And you can go.
Is there a website?
16x16inc.org.
Awesome.
And right there you can see the video of the documentary too. You can donate, which is live now. It just kind of legitimized it because, you know, when I contacted media sources, you know, radio, TV, to be like, hey, this is what I'm doing, they're like, okay, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see proof.
Call me when you make it.
Everything's proof.
Yeah. Now I got proof.
It's like the IRS.
Yeah. Yeah, they want proof.
So you're doing this run again.
March 29th.
Why are you running?
So straight up, I finished these marathons, raised this money, inspire some people. Didn't know how it would change my life, right? And for one, like, I wasn't disappointed Ellen didn't answer the door. Like, I didn't know what would happen, you know? Mm-hmm. The thing that I selfishly went into it for is I knew that I would grow as a human. I know that it would make me uncomfortable. It would put me through pain. It would force me to go beyond the person that I knew, right? Mm-hmm. So I knew that going in. I didn't know what it would look like, you know, but I knew that I would gain something. And so, like, I was like, totally worth it for me, you know, for this personal reason. But when I came back, it kind of messed me up. It probably took me like 4 to 6 weeks to process my life. I've been playing music in this town for a living for over 10 years. It's been a dream of mine since I was a little kid. And very, really, very clearly, by far, I made more of an impact in this world and in this community by doing these runs, these marathon runs, than anything I'd ever accomplished musically.
Wow.
It made me question whether or not I should play music.
Wow.
I
That's a hard thing to say.
It was a difficult thing to go through.
That's a hard thing to say, even for your ego as a rock star. You know what I'm saying? Like a performer, artist, whatever you want to call yourself.
It was. I was struggling.
Like nobody likes to come to that.
No, dude. I questioned whether or not I should play music anymore. I had conversation with Serenity about it. I said, should I try to get into like motivational speaking? Should I, like, what should I do? You know what I mean? Like it very clearly, like, right? Like
I can see you doing some motivational speaking though. Right? After having this conversation, for real, like, I'm like, dude, this guy could, like, because you have a lot to say, man.
It's developed, you know?
Yeah.
It's a genuine story, all these things that have, you know, the dots that have connected. And somebody said something to me, though, in the midst of this figuring out process of what I'm going to do in my life, you know, like a very crazy moment in my life. And they said, I hope you continue to inspire. And I was like, fuck. You know, there was a new accountability, right? Now, people I didn't know were showing up at gigs, you know, looking at me differently, holding me up in a different way, right? Who was I? Who was I going to be in this world? You know, was I going to be this person that just ran these 16 marathons and raised money for kids with cancer and impacted people's lives that have gone through domestic abuse and even the charities themselves, you know, like the Chrysalis, which is driving out domestic violence, you know, let me know, like, that's a dark place to work, right?
Yes.
And while I was doing that, it wasn't as dark, you know?
Right.
Everybody in there was following along and talking about this thing, you know? And so I came to realization, like, man, music is my passion, inspiring is my purpose. And
wow.
And I got all this music, right? So I just need to create this plan and start putting out my music. And music is just always going to be there, right? It's already established. The gigs are there.
It's also the vehicle that's getting you to the, to inspire.
Yeah.
To connect. You know, I mean, you need something.
Yeah. No, yeah.
You know, like, I mean, you know, you're not a desk guy. You're not a 9-to-5 guy.
No.
You know, I understand that and I can relate to that. But now you're using music for a different thing.
Yeah.
Now it's not become about Lee Perreira anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's become a whole new thing.
It's been a crazy transformation, you know. And so, you know, I came with this idea that, you know, I'm going to do my best to release a single every quarter and try to, you know, and so, you know, I just released one, Bonafide, back in January.
On Apple Music?
Apple Music,
Spotify. Google Music. I'm trying to plug you in.
No, good. And
Bonafide.
Then, I'll have my second single of the year will come out the Friday before I start the marathon. So March 27th, Fire and Range will come out.
Where can they follow you, by the way? Instagram?
Yeah, everything is just Lee Perreira. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, even my website. If you just type in my name, Lee Perreira.
LeePerreira.com. I'll put all the links too. But
cool.
All right, keep going.
And so, yeah, long story short, I created this plan. Like, I just need to record and put out music, right? I'm going to try to put out 4 singles a year until the end of time. You know, maybe, or when the day comes, I have a greater platform, I'll put out an album again. But for right now, singles.
Yeah.
Once I had that, I was like, cool, that's like this thing in motion.
Yeah.
Now, what am I going to do with these marathons? What am I going to do with this thing, you know? And I had this idea, like, to create some momentum or keep momentum. You know, there's like Wounded Soldier Awareness Month. There's Cancer Awareness Month. There's different things. I thought, like, I could do some, like, one-offs, right? I'll, like, run a marathon, live stream it for whatever, like, month it is. And then in July, I was in a bad car accident. And until, like, November, I couldn't do any impact exercise.
I remember you told me, huh?
Yeah.
I saw you at Mastro's one time.
Yeah, with my dad. Yeah.
And I remember you telling me that you got into this accident. It was crazy.
Yeah. legally, I think I can't talk about it now. So
never mind.
But I mean, I can't. I mean,
Yeah.
the people I was in an accident with, it's just accident. It's all cool.
Yeah, it's all good. He's fine.
Yeah, I am
He's
fine
here.
now. Yes. But that kind of like stifled that plan, right? I couldn't now do this. Like I was gonna do something in like I think August or September was like some sort of awareness month that I was gonna align with, So now I couldn't do that. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Well, this guy I met along the way who I didn't know before the marathon was just like, hey man, I want to take you out to lunch and talk to you about business and your marathons. I was like, okay, cool. So we got to lunch and we went to some place that wasn't vegan, and so I didn't order anything. And he,
Are you vegan?
Yeah, I am vegan now.
Okay.
And he didn't order anything.
Bacon. I'm sorry.
Vegan.
Anyways, what were you saying? Bacon.
It was just weird. Like we went out to lunch and neither one of us got lunch. He's like, well, I don't want to eat anyway. And like all he really was there to tell me was like, I think you should start a nonprofit. And I was like, okay, why? Like I don't know anything about nonprofit. He's like, one, people forget, right? You start a nonprofit, you name it after what you've already done. I don't know. Call it 16 by 16. He's like, do this thing.
He literally said 60
Yeah,
by 60?
yeah.
He gave you the name.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And he was just like, you should do this. People forget. Put together a video of what you've already accomplished. And that way, your story inspired your nonprofit. It lives on forever. He's like, then what you do with it after that, I don't know. Maybe do some other fundraising stuff, like whatever. So I put it in my head. October of last year, the IRS approved my official 501c3 nonprofit. And in the midst of all this, I was just thinking about it. There were two goals, right? To get on Ellen and to raise $1 million. I said it last year when I did it, and Fox TV News covered it and whatever. I didn't accomplish those goals, right? So that's why we're doing it again. I want to raise $1 million for these charities, and I want to get on Ellen. And right now, with the $15,000 we raised last year, I handed out checks, presented checks to the 3 nonprofits. I have the check for Ellen. And eventually, right, I'm not going to hold the hostage forever. Probably if we go through these marathons this year and she still doesn't answer the door, I'll mail the check in, right? But I still have the check.
Yeah.
The dream is to hand her the check and tell her, like, and it's kind of a long story, like maybe we'll do like an hour special, But like the idea from the beginning was that, if she's able to understand that like this is a genuine thing, I don't take a percentage of this thing. This isn't about me trying to make money on the side. This is a genuine story that has culminated into this,
Yeah.
If she covers the story, obviously we're going to smash that $1 million, right? She has 4 million live viewers on average. Mm-hmm. Live viewers of her show, not her social media outreach, not whatever.
Right.
Like, if 5% of the people donate $5, like that's $1 million. So it's only going to benefit her charity and these other charities I run for, life changing. And so that's the dream, man.
Lee, I love it. We called this podcast On Purpose Talk because I like talking about purpose. You have a purpose, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody could have given up. You told me you had 2 goals last year,
Yeah.
and you didn't reach them. But that was not a reason to give up.
No.
A lot of people give up way too soon. I mean,
Yeah.
you're just starting, and you have so much drive, which I've always admired about you. I mean,
Thank you.
10 gigs in 1 week is not an easy thing to do, but you have such a drive. You have a reason for doing this stuff, and even everything you're releasing, you have a purpose of what you're doing. And I just want to encourage anybody who's listening, anybody who's watching, like, don't give up so easy. Don't give up on something just because you failed. You're probably going to have to fail 200 times. I don't wish that for anybody.
Yeah.
They always use the Thomas Edison, right?
Yeah.
It took like 250 something tries
Yeah.
to get the right light bulb and to invent the light bulb or whatever. I mean, maybe you're going to have to do it 200 times. Maybe you have to do it twice.
Yeah.
Or maybe just one failure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the idea is not to give up. The idea is to keep going, and self-reflecting is so important. It's so important because you start realizing, okay, what is my real purpose for doing things? Is it for me? Do I want all the fame and glory and all the money? But what is that going to bring me? So many stories we read of people that want to accomplish, even people who win lotteries, right? They get all that, and then everything crumbles. Why? Because they didn't have their mind, their heart, their soul, their spirit in order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
So true.
it was always in it was like that Jenga, you know, that's just waiting for that one piece to just like all fall apart.
Yeah.
And money could be it, or that something, anything can trigger it, right? But everybody thinks money is gonna like help them.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
like the biggest thing to me in my life is that when I, you know, it started with losing my brother. It really took hold when I fought my case for 3 years, and then, you know, became very clear in prison, you know, and then from then, you know, we're not even 3 years of me being out of prison, you know, and when I started focusing on becoming a better human, like I can't express that enough, you know, when I started finding out what works for me, you know, like, you know, my morning routine, you know, of 2 minutes of positive body language, reading. And I'm not some crazy big reader, right? Like straight up, like, but I just try to read like a couple pages a day of a book that inspires me. You know what I mean? And when I started filling my day with things that made me a better human, and that became the priority, everything else in my life improved. I'm making more money. I'm working with better people. You know, like everything about it, right? When I'm focused on making more money, you know, that's not what leads me to greater fulfillment and greater happiness. You know, trying to find balance, which I suck at. You know, like I don't have good balance. You know, having a woman that supports me and loves me and either gently nudges me in the right direction or aggressively pushes me in the right direction when that's needed. You know what I mean? Like the people that you surround yourselves that help you on that journey. You know what I mean? Because maybe you can do it alone for a little while, you know, but like habits die hard, you know, unless you're going to surround yourself with people that are lifting you up, you know, musicians that are making you better, you know. One of my favorite things ever is Victor Wooten from his book, you know, what's the fastest way to get better? Surround yourself with masters, right? Straight up, you know what I mean? Like and that applies to everything in life, you know, whether it's love, whether it's music, whether it's business. Surround yourself. Don't be afraid to be the dumbest person in the room. You know what I mean? Because then there's so much to learn.
Yeah, there's an advantage to that.
Oh my God. Yeah.
When everyone's the smartest, there's nowhere to go.
Bro, surround yourself with Lamar Gaines and Amar Miho. And tell me you don't at least sound better immediately.
Oh yeah, she tells me. There's something about the energy, you know, like surrounding. You know, from a musician standpoint, I like playing with people who are just excellent at what they do, because then it sharpens me.
Yeah,
you know, it sharpens me
and inspires you.
Yeah, it does.
Right.
And you know, and the same thing with people who I like to talk to, and it's just like, man, I was like, I love the way they think. And you know, one of the things that we always talk about, like as a musician, no one trained me to be a businessman. But if I want to get gigs and make money off of what I do, I have to learn the business side of it.
Yeah.
And you have to sharpen yourself around it, and maybe surround yourself with people and go, okay, how are they doing it?
Yeah.
What can I do better? What can I, you know? And that's how we learn. I mean, that's kind of how I've been learning, just learning from others. Be like, okay, I'll see what they're doing. Maybe I could do it like this. I can, you know, and I'll be like, you know, or not afraid to ask questions. You know?
Dude, and there's no competition, right? Like the only competition is the competition with yourself, right?
Right.
And so like one of my favorite things I've heard throughout this whole process is every day I try to get 1% better, which is like it's like a 7.5 minute investment in yourself, right? 7.5 minutes to get 1% better. What company wouldn't take a 365% growth over the course of a year? You know what I mean? So 1% better. And so the only competition, and again, is that confidence that comes, right? Like, you're dope, Stanley. Like, you've heard me say straight to you, Dandy, straight to him. Like, you're one of my favorite artists in town. You know what I mean? I could let insecurity of who I am as a musician make me feel intimidated by Stanley, or make me feel intimidated by somebody else, right? But when I'm working on myself and I'm making myself better, there's no competition. There's a competition with myself. And therefore, it creates a better community, right? Because, like, I'm not worried about you taking my gig. There's an abundance of work out there. There's an abundance of stuff. You know what I mean?
Correct.
What it boils down to is are you doing the work yourself? Are you putting in the work on yourself, on your business, the daily work? You know what I mean? Like, I did 10 gigs last week. How many gigs you do? I bet you're busy too. Like,
Yeah.
we're not competing.
No.
We're brothers in the same thing.
No,
you know?
and we get encouraged.
Yeah.
Like, I know what 10 gigs in a week entitles.
Yeah.
And it encourages me to know that you're working and people out there are asking for you. I get generally happy. Like, there's no...
And that feels great.
It does.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the cool thing about, I think, the community we have and the friends. I know there's people out there who are out there for competition and there's jealousy and envy. But to tell you the truth, I don't know who they are.
That's so beautiful.
You know what I'm saying?
That's beautiful.
So, like, because I love the people I do know, and we're just generally just happy for each other.
Yeah, man.
And I think in life, we'd be better humans if we'd just be happy for each other. Just understand the lane you're in. Understand who you are and how unique that is in your purpose.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, instead of competing against each other, working together is even greater.
Yeah.
Lee, I got to tell you, you don't need Ellen to achieve your dreams. Mm-hmm. You're already doing it because of that drive you're going to. You're going to get to Ellen, but you don't need her to achieve your dreams, or it's not because the story is already, you're writing it, and that's high, and I want to encourage everybody to check out Lee Perreira, LeePerreira.com, Pereira if you're Hispanic or Portuguese.
Or can roll your R's, which I can't.
Pereira. So you give yourself double R's and you can't roll your R's.
I didn't give them. They were given
Right.
They were
to me.
given to him.
Yes. I did not make up anything in regards to my name.
Check out his album, What's I Gotta Do With My Dream, his single that's already out, Bonafide. Check him out on any shows. Come by and say hello. This guy is generally super cool. The only time he won't say hi to you is because he has to rush to the restroom after singing for an hour. But he's generally cool. Sit down, talk, and check him out on his run. You can live stream it.
Yeah, March 29th through April 13th.
And people are going to be able to donate to charities.
You can donate now.
Okay.
The link is live on the website.
16 by 16 inc.com.
.org.
16x16 to be literal.
Yep.
inc.org.
.org.
Okay.
Yeah,
LeePerreira.com.
Yep. And on the LeePerreira.com, if you go there, there's a link to the nonprofit website. You can donate now. 100% of the donations go straight to these 4 amazing charities. And yeah, man, I'm excited to do it again. There's a little bit of something that wasn't there before. Like before, it was an unknown, right? So it's just like this idea. We're gonna do this thing no matter what. I'm gonna get there, right? There's no time limit. I'm not racing. It's just me on the road. I just need to finish. But now I see some of the things, like the San Bernardino Mountains were quite the chore.
All my California peoples will know what that is.
Bro, I did not know or expect snow to be up there, or that it was at 8,000 feet elevation change. So now that's in my brain. So
Right.
That's the only day that I feel apprehensive about. I'm like, oh man, the rest of it.
You're preparing for that physically and all stuff, right?
I have a 20-pound weighted vest that I run with damn near every day, which is cool because on New Year's Day, when I announced that I was going to do it again, on New Year's Day this year, I announced I was running again. I announced that I had a nonprofit, and I released my documentary video showing what I had done before. And to just, again, show the universe a sign of hey, I'm 100% in. I ran 27.6 miles, more than a marathon. Again, just to tell the universe, yo, what's up? And to talk about the mind, that accident slowed me down, right? So in November, I was able to start training again. The most miles I had run until January 1st, I had not done more than 8.5 miles in a day. And
Now, I know you can't talk about it, but you weren't driving.
No.
Okay. Just to be clear,
I was
you'd be like, what? After all that, he's still driving.
I was in one of those
let's not
car services.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
One of those.
One of them.
Yes.
That's it. So it wasn't that accident was not.
No.
He's been responsible.
I can't.
I can attest to that because he even showed up here with one of those car services.
Yes.
And he's been responsible. He's a responsible man. He's a different man.
Oh no, absolutely. And And what's again ironic how the universe like aligns things, right? So April 13th is the day that I'll arrive in Burbank, California on the 16th marathon. April 13th is the day I can apply for my license again after over 6
bro.
years.
That's
Hey,
cool.
man.
Yeah.
You're gonna come and pick us up, and we're gonna
Bro.
go eat something.
Oh man, I can't wait, bro. Where you want to go? I'll start my own car service.
I like that, man. I'm tired of driving, bro. I'll let you drive, bro. All right, cool. Thank you for talking with us, man.
Yes, thank you.
We can
Thank you for
continue
having
this,
me.
by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know we can. We can talk forever. And check out Lee. Check out everything he's got going. I'm excited for this new year for you, man.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
All right, man. Love you, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you.
Love you both.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Peace.
To my queen, my future bride, thank you for all of your support. I know you'll always be by my side. I hit your lift right on down to that airport. She's a bonafide, certified winner. She my classy R&B two-stepping mirror. Your love has propelled me beyond what I know. I know if I see forever, I'll never say farewell to you. You're my gold chain, my stillness and tan. Every night I can celebrate you out my champagne. To you I've cried, and you I confide. I know I can always count on you to ride. She's a bonafide, certified winner. She my classy R&B two-stepping mirror. Your love has propelled me beyond what I know. I know if I see forever, I'll never say farewell to you. I know if I see forever, I'll never say farewell to you. She's a bonafide, certified winner. She my classy R&B two-stepping mirror. Your love has propelled me beyond what I know. I know if I see forever, I'll never say farewell to you. She's a bonafide, certified winner. She my classy R&B two-stepping mirror. I say your love has propelled me on what I know. I know if I see forever, I'll never say farewell to you. I know if I see forever, I'll never say farewell to you. I know if I see forever, I'll never say farewell to you.